Bruce Millington, James Milton and Ian Wilkerson looking ahead to the final batch of Premier League games taking place on Sunday. And I tell you what would have been quite a good betting heat. Name the games that Sky picked. They've gone for Liverpool v Brighton, Newcastle, Chelsea and Southampton, Man City. That tricast would have paid a few quid there because I'm not quite sure what they've based it on here. Any thoughts, James?
Not really, no. I mean, kind of mathematically, you're looking at things that are just about still alive. But yeah, you'd have thought Swansea Stoke might be the one. I don't know.
There'll be some poor bastard sitting at Sky right now going like this, having just had an email from some saying, you're in charge of marketing this Sunday's Premier League broadcast. It's like, what am I going to do?
They'll find a way. They're brilliant at selling this rubbish.
What are they going to bill it as? Anyway, we're going to bill it as potential betting success because although the games do lack a competitive edge to a certain extent, there will hopefully be some very interesting angles for us to exploit. So we'll start then with the three, well, they're all 3 o'clock. We'll start with the one at Anfield. It's Liverpool versus Brighton. And Jimmy Case. That's all I can think of at the moment for they played for both clubs, but I'm sure we can do better
Mark
with that.
Lawrenson.
Who?
Mark Lawrenson.
Mark Lawrenson, of course, you win. Right,
and
anyway,
Michael Robinson.
Michael Robinson, yes. It's 1-7 Liverpool. It's 13-2 the draw, and it's 14-1 Brighton. James, I'm certainly not going to back Liverpool at 1-7 unless you can make an extraordinarily good case for why I should.
I'm going to have to tear up my notes now. No, I'm not tipping Liverpool at 1-7. I'm hoping for a kind of testimonial vibe to this game. I mean, Liverpool, I think, realistically need a point. They're 15 goals better off than Chelsea on goal difference. And for that reason, I think under 2.5 is a big price. Almost 2-1, 15-8, I think you can get. I mean, Brighton just don't score any goals away from home. And Liverpool have only conceded 10 in their 18 home games in the league. So I think I don't see Liverpool going out all guns blazing. You know, we've seen some terrific attacking displays from them this season, but Brighton make life difficult for any opponents, as they showed recently beating Manchester United. So I think it's, you know, I don't think it's going to be a classic. Liverpool have actually failed to score in 3 of their last 5. Obviously, they've had their Champions League distractions, but so you know, you could see a kind of 1-0, 2-0 Liverpool win, but unders looks the bet for me.
Okay, that distraction obviously still does remain because they've got the small matter of the final, which is 13 days after this fixture. It's quite a difficult one that from prep-wise, isn't it? They'll be twiddling their thumbs, won't they? Wilco, do you think that they'll their final rehearsal before that will be a successful one, or could Brighton nick something?
I don't think Brighton will nick something. We've not seen much evidence of potential for that from their away performances because they're winners in 12 away matches, and going to Anfield, I wouldn't really fancy their chances as well as they did play when they beat United earlier in the week. Like James, I don't think we're going to be seeing a host of goals in this match. Don't anticipate, for all Liverpool's attacking skill and ability, they've not been really running right in their home matches. You know, they've scored more than twice in just 3 of their last 14 home matches. So, like James, I think the unders is the way to go. So 15-8, sent before, something like that.
I think teams are so wary now, you know, it is kind of damage limitation. They've seen what Liverpool have done, particularly in Europe, just absolutely blown teams away.
You can also suppress this lot to an extent, can't you?
Yeah.
Now, I know that there'll be some Liverpool fans saying, we'll try telling Pep Guardiola that. But, you know, if they're not playing their absolute A team, you know who the threats are, and you know who the functionaries are.
And teams are going to put players behind it. But you know, they've run right in games like with City and Roma when teams have had a go at them. We've seen that a lot with Spurs this season as well.
Just talking about the gap before the Champions League. I mean, surely Liverpool have organised some friendly tournament in Australia or something.
You'd hope so.
Qatar would be the natural thing.
No question. Right, another meaningless game. 3 o'clock. Newcastle. Who are going through the motions, they're safe, they don't have to worry. And Chelsea, you know, really abysmal defence of their Premier League title. They'll not fancy this one iota. It's liable to be, they've got the cup final as well, haven't they, of course, the following week. So, again, enthusiasm levels might be on the wane here, but hopefully we can enthuse ourselves with a bet. The latest from Paddy Power, 9-2 Newcastle, 11-4 the draw, 4-7 Chelsea. I'm not going to touch the 4-7 either. Wilco, you go first on this.
No, I'm not touching that 4-7. Newcastle, you know, for how they've been sort of like challenging to be wind down Wallies at the end of this season, they played well against Spurs last night. You know, seeing the highlight, I didn't go to seeing the highlights, they definitely look worthy of getting a draw. So perhaps they're going to have a bit of a lift and put something in against a team that will really be deflated after that performance against Huddersfield. Never really got going. They would have really stole that match. So I think a draw.
Chelsea never got going.
Well, they never really looked.
15, they were all over.
Yeah, but they never.
Bloody hell.
I mean, he made a great save. He made a great save.
I mean, that save's overrated, mate. That save is overrated, honestly. The way they were going on about it last night was like Banks versus
kept him up.
Brazil. Yeah, I know, but
then it can't be, can it? It can't be overrated if it's the thing that
it's important, but
yeah.
You know, anyway.
So
Chelsea did play well for the last 15, I thought.
But I wasn't ever convinced that they were going to knock one in. Yeah, I'll go for a draw, 11-4.
Draw for Wilco. Who for you, James?
Yeah, definitely opposing Chelsea. I think the Newcastle will draw a double chance. When you look at Newcastle's form, actually, they've won 4 in a row and then have lost their last 4. So you could kind of, you know, if you're just looking at that, you can see kind of exactly the moment they down tools. But as Wilco said, you know, they played pretty well at Tottenham. All those defeats have been by a 1-goal margin. Chelsea's last 5 wins have been by a 1-goal margin. So, you know, it looks like a tight game, and for that reason, the 4-7 Chelsea just makes no appeal whatsoever.
Did Nigel Pearson play for Villa and Borough?
I don't think he played for Villa, did he? I'm not sure.
Okay, all right. 3 o'clock also, Southampton, Man City. Man City need to win this to get to the magical 100-point barrier. Southampton just need to avoid getting beat by about 9. So, with that in mind, the latest from Paddy Powell, 6-1 the Saints, 7-2 the draw. It's 2-5 Man City. Milts, what's the approach here going to take? I
mean, yes, it's hard to know what Southampton are going to do with this game. I mean, after that tension of that huge 1-0 win at Swansea, you think even though mathematically there's a chance they could go down, I think they'll play with a bit more freedom. They've had kind of 3-2 defeats. They've just got to avoid conceding 2 in the first 10. Yeah. I mean, they've had 3-2 defeats to Chelsea and Arsenal in their last 2 kind of clashes with the big 6, and City can just do what they like really. So over 3.5 goals looks a decent bet for me. Copped in 6 of City's last 7, and the exception was that 0-0 draw with Huddersfield, who obviously, as we've seen this week, were scrapping for their top flight lives. So yeah, I think a bit more of a laid-back atmosphere down at St Mary's, and hopefully plenty of goals. Over 3.5 Milts. Who for you, Wilco?
Yeah, I think this will be the most entertaining of the 3 live offerings. Southampton, yeah, that was such a massive result for them that the way that other results have gone as well, again, give them a little bit more freedom to be more proactive, I think, against City, who, they are still prone to the odd defensive lapse. And Charlie Austin's been showing, he's been a big boost for them coming back. And I'd fancy City and both teams to score at 13-8.
Lovely. Right, let's whiz through the other games then. Now, one thing that is still very much alive here, if you've had a bet on the handicap this year, I backed City. I thought they'd absolutely dominate. And I was thinking to myself, this is great, I'll just check in and see where I am. I now find that we're neck and neck with Burnley. So that's a disaster. So I'm going to be rooting for Bournemouth to win at Burnley. Burnley are 11-10 to get the 3 points here, to put the lid on a fantastic season for them. It's 23-10 the draw, and it's 12-5 the Cherries. So what's going to happen here then, Milts? Will my handicap bet be safe?
I'm going to be the bearer of bad news for you. I think Burnley are a really good bet at odds against in this one. I mean,
as long as they both win, as long as City match their result, I'm okay. But there's other bookmakers who I think they need City to better the Burnley result.
Yeah, I mean, it does just go to show the incredible job Sean Dyche has done there. And he's actually a big factor in this bet for me, because I don't think he'll want them to end such an amazing season on a low point. Obviously, they lost 5-0 at Arsenal last weekend. So I think this is a great opportunity for them to go out with another win. They've only lost 4 of 25 against teams below them. That's why they're in the position they are. And Bournemouth, in contrast, have lost 12 of 15 against the top 8. So I just think Burnley are going to be too tough for Bournemouth really in this one.
There's 2 derbies, isn't there? They're both the XG overachievers, aren't they? And they're also obviously the Eddie Howe managed or managed them derby. Who's going to win this one then, Wilkes?
I think both teams will score in this game. Burnley, they were really on a hiding to nothing at Arsenal, weren't they, with Wenger's last game? I think it it was prone to being a disappointment, I think. But they've won just 2 of their last 9 games at Turf Moor. So I would give Bournemouth a squeak if they hadn't. They've got a poor away record with only 1 win in 12 on the road, but that was the 3-0 at Chelsea, which appears to be a bit of a freak result. But they failed to score in just 1 of their last 8 away. So I'll give them a chance. That's 5-6, both teams to score.
BTTS. Okay, down at Selhurst, Palace at 8-11 to beat West Brom, who are 130, and it's 13-5 to draw. There is still a little bit riding on this in so much as the avoidance of the wooden spoon is up for grabs. I think West Brom are 9-2 generally to finish bottom. Stoke are 1-6.
You'd have cashed that. You'd have spent that money, wouldn't you?
I've got to tell you this, okay? I've got to tell you this. This is one of the few things that's gone right from this season. At the start of the season, I backed West Brom and Stoke to finish bottom, 28-1, 25-1. I cashed out the West Brom bet and virtually got the full amount. And now Stoke are virtually odds on to do it. So it's gone absolutely perfectly.
Donuts on Monday.
These things don't normally happen to me. Will West Brom avoid the wooden spoon, James Milton?
I'm not sure, but I think this is going to be entertaining. I mean, over 2.5 goals. West Brom obviously, relegated, but playing with more confidence under Darren Moore, and Palace have really found their scoring boots recently. Last 2 home games, 3-2 against Brighton, 5-0 against Leicester. Then they went and won 2-1 at Stoke. So I think it's going to be an entertaining end of the season at Selhurst.
Overs, yeah?
Yep.
Oh, have you seen our new kit, by the way, lads? Did you see it? It's the unveiling the kit season. I was welling up last night, so they unveiled it. The sash is back, right? And the way they did it, they got this video of Vince Hilaire now walking along with all these memories in the background, and then he just comes and stops, and there's a statue, and it's Wilf in the new away kit.
Why? Tear in your eye,
mate. More than it, honestly, it was unbelievable. It was like the Office Christmas special when Dawn and Tim kicked in. It was absolutely brilliant. Anyway, Wilco, Palace West Brom.
Your boys Palace, they've had such a good end to the season, haven't they? And the games that they've lost have been against the big boys, and narrowly they've accounted for, really well after starting so dismally. To be where they are is a fantastic achievement. West Brom, they're fair play to them the way that they've carried on in the last few weeks. I still think that they may be able to get a point in this game. So 13-5 a draw.
Okay, Huddersfield. After that heroic result at Chelsea last night, apparently they were due to fly home, but they didn't. They all got rather wonky on alcohol. So how they're going to be for this one against Arsenal remains to be seen. But it's 4-1 Huddersfield, 3-1 the draw. It's 8-13 Arsenal. My question for you, James, is would you back a team at 8-13 who have gained literally 0 away points this calendar year? Because I certainly wouldn't.
No, I mean, you're absolutely right. It's 7 away defeats on the trot for Arsenal.
And he says they're only 2 players away from being a good side again. What, Messi and Ronaldo?
And Huddersfield are going to have to be pretty hungover to make those Arsenal odds appeal at all. I mean, it's, there are kind of vague excuses for it in that there was so much focus on the Europa League, but it's just a horrible run of form, and it says as much about the kind of attitude of the Arsenal players as it does about their ability. It's a genuinely pathetic and embarrassing streak, and hopefully Arsene Wenger can snap it in his final game. But the bet that stands out for me is Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, first goal scorer. I think kind of 3-1. It's a pretty solid each way bet there. He's made a terrific impact, as I think everyone thought he would.
Do you like him?
Yeah. I think you saw his kind of 2 poachers finishes against Burnley. It's exactly what Arsenal needed. 9 goals in his first 11 Premier League starts, and he's the man.
I've got to say, Wilco, that the way that I view Wenger and the way Arsenal fans view Wenger, it's sort of gone like that. So I was always, no, he shouldn't have to go. But now he's gone, and I look at how bad it is, and I thought his speech last week was a bit arrogant, to be honest. I didn't really get moved by that. Whereas all the Arsenal fans, Wenger out, and now it's legend.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a weird one. Do you think they can put a very thin veneer of icing on a pretty ropey old cake?
Yeah, but I wouldn't back them at 4-7 to do it. I mean, that's a horrendous price. And not lost their last 7 away games, and it's not like they've lost. Not necessarily. It's not always been against good teams, and some of them even going through the motions have turned Arsenal over. But like like James says, Aubameyang, he looks the real deal, doesn't he? He looks the part. And I think if they're going to do well next year, they've got to find a way of getting him and Lacazette to play with each other and bring the best out of each other. If they do that and shore something up at the back, then they can be pushing for a top 4 place this year. So along the line with Aubameyang, 4-1 to score 2 or more goals. I'll take a chance on that.
Okay, Man U v Watford, 2-9 Man U, 5-1 the draw, 10-1 the Orns. Wilco, you lead on.
Unders for me. Watford not scored in their last 7 on the road, and I just think
crumbs.
Although they did play well against Spurs, they were another team who played well against Spurs at Wembley and knocked on the door and couldn't knock one in. I just think 1 or 2 will be enough for United. Take it easy with a cup final on the road. So that's 15-8. That's a big price, I think.
Yeah, it does seem big, doesn't it? Milts.
Yeah, I've not got a strong opinion. Probably the draw, Man United double result. Really, I mean, as Wilkes has said, Watford don't score many goals. Could keep it tight early on. United obviously playing Thursday night as well. So I don't think it'll be all guns blazing in the first half from United, but they should get their job done.
If you want a cracking electric atmosphere, don't go to Swansea Stoke. Both been relegated, both be very, very glum. Well, I mean, Swansea could win 9-0, I suppose, and get out of it, but it's highly unlikely given it takes them about 4 hours to score a goal these days. 5-6 Swansea, 13-5 the draw, 16-5 Stoke. I've got 0 interest in backing Swansea odds on here. James, do you?
No, I don't. The one bet that possibly stood out was more goals in the second half, which is evens. You think even if Swansea need kind of 9 goals or whatever, they'll want to just put on some kind of show for their fans. And actually, Stoke, the last 16 goals in Stoke games, 13 have been in the second half. I mean, they're very slow starters themselves. So, it's not the most thrilling game, but maybe Swansea will finish with a late rattle.
Okay, second half to have most goals. That's what Milts fancies. What do you fancy, Wilco?
Well, so you say you wouldn't back Swansea at 5-6. They were 4-6 before the what happened last night. That they would, the need to win was factored into that.
I'd rather be on them at 4-6 because I mean they might just go absolutely gung ho. But
no, I can't have. I've got no interest in this game at all, really. But a token punt on the draw for me.
Righty-ho, Tottenham are 1-4 to seal 3rd place against Leicester. I suppose that is quite important, isn't it? Because it saves you a qualifying.
Well, for this year it won't because the criteria has changed. That there's 4 extra places in the group stages for non-qualifiers, and one of those goes to the team that finishes 4th.
Oh, so I didn't know that. Fair enough. Okay, it doesn't matter. 1-4 Tottenham, 9-1 the Foxes, 9-2 the draw. James.
I think Jamie Vardy, anytime goal scorer here. Sort of fantastic stat on the BBC that since Vardy's Premier League debut, he scored 24 goals against the so-called Big Six. And the nearest challenger in those games is Sergio Aguero with 20. So I mean, it was one of those that kind of made sense. You kind of you look at him and he does tend to pop up in these.
Well, I suppose also the good
games,
sides push up against you, don't they?
Exactly.
So he gets in behind them.
And so this game looks nicely set up for him. As Ian's mentioned, Tottenham have been kind of keeping clean sheets at Wembley, but giving away plenty of chances as well. Vardy scored again against Arsenal in midweek on penalties.
Underrated, isn't he?
I think he's had a terrific season actually. So that's the bet for me.
I like that. Vardy for Milts. Wilco, what do you think will happen here?
I think I'd anticipate quite an open game, and I think where Newcastle and Watford failed to breach the Spurs' defence with a combination of bad luck and some decent goalkeeping, I think Leicester can make their mark, and Spurs. Yeah, they've defensively been a bit shaky. They've been a bit nervy. The shackles could come off now that they've finally got over the line. But both teams score 9-10, like that lot.
Righty-ho, and finally, it's West Ham versus Everton. 7-5 West Ham, David Moyes' current club. 15-8 Everton, the club where he made his name. 23-10 the draw. Very briefly, lads, because I'm bored just reading out the bloody prices. Go on.
It's a fitting finale for the Premier League. I can't see a single bet in this. I'd just go out and buy a box of Soleros or something.
Okay.
Unders.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, let's get the naps.
This will not be beaten.
Righty-ho, Wilco, your nap of the weekend?
My nap of the weekend, both teams to score in the game between Spurs and Leicester.
James.
I'm going for Burnley to beat Bournemouth. I think Sean Dyche will get the right reaction to the 5-0 defeat at Arsenal and Bournemouth. Very poor travellers.
Okay, I am going to go for the Stoke draw double chance against Swansea. Okay, thank you very much, chaps. That was excellent. We're back because the football season's certainly not finished yet, is it? Got a cup final on Saturday week. Now, here's something, right? One of the rules in life, you have to watch the cup final, don't you? You just do. It's traditional. Will you be watching the cup final this year?
Probably not.
Really?
Because I'm flying to Turkey on holiday the next day, and an early flight, so I'll be on a train getting to Gatwick Airport to go to the hotel.
But would you have otherwise?
Probably. But then I'm still sick about Spurs not being in it.
Yeah. James, will you?
It's not the same without Arsenal in it, really. But if I'm in the office, I'll watch it. But
otherwise you won't. Really? You'll be at a choral recital or something like flower pressing.
Okay. He's at the royal wedding.
Oh yeah, this is, yes, the royal wedding, of course.
Doing a reading.
Absolutely. Okay. Our Eurovision Song Contest. Is it called Eurovision Song Contest or is it just Eurovision?
You're at the wrong shop, I don't know.
Okay. We're doing a Eurovision postcast tomorrow, so don't miss that. Well, seriously, Stephen Cass, who is on that, is the absolute king of Eurovision. Believe me, he spends every waking hour thinking about it. So he will give you the best betting advice on that. There's also a GAA weekend preview. They're both out on Friday. And also Keels and the gang will be back with all the Friday racing. So 3 great postcasts for you. We're back next week. And don't forget, if you do enjoy the postcasts, make sure you rate, review and subscribe on iTunes.
Follow Paddy Power on Snapchat. The username is ThePaddyPower. And we promise there won't be any boring snaps about gigs, the weather or the gym.